There was one time when she had to tell us to stop because she said one of the dogs found something and we're not running the train for a little while.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so that was exciting.
How did it come together?
Well, I'll tell how it came together, and that'll explain what it is. We went to Lee's Grocery up in Tampa Heights and had pizza and beer. Well, Emily has her full-time job is PR at the airport.
Cool, okay.
And in addition, she also plays bass in an all-girl punk band out of St. Pete. So by way of introducing her to the boys, I said, well, Emily plays in this band, and her band played at the airport. Now, naturally, all us being comics, the first thing we think is, why can't we get stage time at the airport?
Yeah, how did we get on this deal?
Right, so we start badgering her for stage time, and then, of course, it takes a silly turn and says, why can't we do stage time on one of those little airport trams? Then they had the little 45-second trips between the hubs and the air sides. And she said, you know what, I work at the airport, I can totally make that happen. So it went from being a silly idea to, well, let's do it, and if we're going to do it, well, let's film it.
Now, wasn't this was on a new part of the airport, right?
Yeah, the only thing she talked us out of, she says, wait a couple months till we get the new train done. It's a longer 5-minute train ride that goes from the remote parking all the way to the main terminal.
So this went from just a little spark of a silly idea to suddenly
the first silly idea was we'll tell like one joke to this crowd.
And then you just went from that to like, you know what? It turned into like a high concept idea all of a sudden. It's like, you know what? This is such a valuable idea that we should wait a couple of months.
Right, and that's what we did. And the whole idea is that we ambush people unexpectedly on a weekday on a train. You know, the doors close and they see the mic and they see the stool and the bottle of water. They don't know what's happening until the doors close and they can't get off.
And this was kids.
Everybody. So yeah, we were G-rated all day long.
Wow.
You know, because we couldn't annoy anybody. We didn't want the airport's behind us, so we don't want to make them mad. Yeah. But for 8 hours, from like 8 a.m. till 4 p.m., we rode back and forth on that 5-minute train ride and just shot, I don't know, maybe, I think we estimated 80 sets in one day. Yeah, and then Josh did his magic and edited it down to a 25-minute film. And we got what we were hoping for. We got reactions that ranged from awkward to amused to angry. So we got a good sampling of all that. Mostly awkward.
So that was tourists and residents included.
Anybody who got on the train, yeah. And sometimes it was 1 or 2 people on the train. There's one cut where there's one guy on the train. And sometimes it was packed like a New York subway. You just never knew. It's just whoever got on was getting the same 5-minute comedy show all day long.
Oh, wow. So then after you completed this, now you did this, you shot this all in one day.
Yes.
And this is just you and John both performing stand-up comedy, did you original stuff and basically off the cuff?
I was the host. I introduced the crowd to the show and did a 30-second set.
Hosting set.
Yeah, and then I'd bring up the headliner, John Jacobs, who would do 4.5 minutes.
Oh my God.
And John and I just did on-camera stuff, and Josh did everything with the camera. Sometimes he would wander away. We didn't know where he was going. He was getting B-roll. He was getting different angles and everything. We just let him do his thing, and all we did was perform stand-up comedy for people who didn't necessarily want to see it.
Now, who decided to submit it into the? It just screened at the Dunedin International Film Festival.
Yeah, we just came off the Dunedin International Film Festival.
Was this the first screening?
Yeah, well, no, we did a premiere at the Bellagio back in November when it was done. And then the people from Dunedin found out about it and asked us to submit. We didn't even submit until we were invited to submit.
Okay. Yeah. So you had the original screening.
Yep.
And how was the response for that?
It was good. Well, of course, we did this thinking, the only people who are going to laugh at this is us.
People that supported it.
Right. And then we got our first look at the footage that Josh had shot, and we're like, this looks really good.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good, yeah.
And then it became like, well, let's put it out there as an actual film and not just an inside joke for the 10 people who would think it's funny.
Yeah.
And just see what happens. And good response at the premiere, and then we got a great response in Dunedin.
So you went to the Dunedin.
No friends or family.
It was all these are people that came in to film festivals or
Right.
buying tickets.
Yeah, none of our friends, none of our family were there.
That's as par the course.
Right. Well, the premiere was kind of packed, so you can't really gauge from that. We had people there that liked us.
Exactly.
Whereas in Dunedin, nobody even knew us.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
And they laughed from every joke. They laughed at the corny G-rated jokes from start to finish. So all the material landed, and at the end we got an ovation.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, they really liked it. And then somebody that was in the crowd was there from Sunscreen Film Festival, and approached us and said, "Hey, you guys need to submit to Sunscreen."
And that's coming up.
That's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Now, well, has
It's
it
kind of
been
snowballing a little
submitted into other festivals so far? Or is that the only one, really? Or
well, we submitted for another one in St. Pete, and I'm not going to give their name because they didn't pick us. But they also didn't tell us we didn't make it. Like the deadline just passed, and they just didn't inform us.
do that, man. They don't do
That's
that.
right. Anyway, but we cooperated with her throughout. Like she requested we just not annoy. We didn't delay any passengers from getting to where they were going.
Yeah.
And then we didn't offend them, and we were able to accomplish that.
That's cool.
There was one time when she had to tell us to stop because she said one of the dogs found something, and we're not running the train for a little while.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so that was exciting. So
John panicked.
no, we just got off the train for a little while.
John's like, that's
yeah.
mine.
You guys
sorry."
do what? Yeah.
Whatever.
Is it something that burns or something that explodes?
Yeah, let me know which way we're going.
Right.
Hit the subscribe button.